Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I thought I would just do a little sit down and chat video today. The camera is so far away from me, so I feel like I have to yell. So hopefully you can hear me. I've never had the camera this far away from me before, but I'm kind of just like in that mood. I'm not doing any podcasts right now. I don't even know why. I guess I just don't feel like it. My next podcast is not gonna be probably till July or something. So right now I'm just doing like um, pattern roundup videos and things like that. I think the next video after this one is also gonna be a pattern roundup video. So today I'm wearing my Hathor tee by Aegyo Knit that I test knitted last year. I use Gepard cotton wool 5, yeah, the Aran version, and it's just a cotton wool blend yarn. It's a really lovely yarn to knit with. It doesn't feel like cotton at all because I tend to struggle knitting with cotton yarn, but this feels really nice. I remember just having such a pleasant experience knitting with it, and I really want to knit using the fingering weight version at some point. So I have two whips that I've kind of been working on the over the past few days. Haven't shared anything about them on social media because I'm kind of taking a mini break from social media. I'll talk about that later. But I have one whip here in this bag. This is my bag from Mood Living. I think it's called the Donna bag. I'm not entirely sure, but I did a giveaway with them on Instagram months ago. So I got to keep one of the bags. So they gave me one bag, and then I did a giveaway on Instagram, and I think the person who won it was from the US. But I'm not being paid to say this, but I love this bag so much. I've been using it as a regular project bag and an everyday bag. It goes everywhere with me. So in here, this was a very spontaneous cast on. I've been all about spontaneous cast ons these days. This is the Wave Tee by Petite Knit, and this pattern came out a little while ago. And the most interesting thing, it's a very simple construction. The most interesting thing about this is the yarn. So I'm still doing the raglan increases, but I'm not sure what the front is. Oh wow. I guess this is the front. So it doesn't really look like much. Also, I think I'm a bit worried because when I cast this on, the pattern had said to cast on tightly, but I guess I must have skipped over that and I just cast on as normal. So I did not cast on tightly. So I'm worried that the neckline is going to be too wide, although it's meant to be a boat neck. So I think it should be fine. But I think what I'm going to do is when I'm done, if after blocking it, if the neckline is too wide, I'll just go back in and do an I-cord. And I'm using the recommended yarn. It's Gepard Cotton Waves. It's an absolutely stunning yarn. Very interesting. It has a boucle-like texture to it. I guess it's because, yeah, it has a boucle-like texture to it. It's a bulky weight yarn, I think. And it is 90% cotton, 10% linen. And this is left over from a couple of test knits that I did last year. I did 2 test knits using this yarn in the same color. And I have exactly the right amount to make the short sleeve version of the Wave Tee. So I just thought, why not do it? It's not the type of yarn that you can really use for any project, you know? And I think it's the type of yarn that really shines just doing basic stockinette, and this construction is very easy. You cast on in the round and you do some increases for the sleeves first and then do increases for the body. So that's where I'm at right now, and it's just easy, very simple, not much frills to it. And then I have another whip that I literally just cast this on last night. I don't know why I cast this on. I don't know. But I guess I have the pattern, so I just thought, why not? This is, I don't know. But anyway, this is the Marie Pillow by Petite Knit. And it's just done in all over garter slip stitch, garter slip edge, garter slip stitch, I think. So I've heard a lot of people, I've had this pattern since last year. And I think what happened was I cast on last year. It recommends a DK weight yarn, and I cast on with a worsted weight yarn, and it was just too big. It was like 5 inches bigger, but I thought it was gonna be fine. I was like, oh, it's just a pillow or whatever. But I wanted to do the 50 by 50 centimeter square, and mine was like 60 something centimeter. And I was like, oh, this is not gonna work because I intend to buy the pillow backing that Petite Knit sells. It was just gonna be too big. So I just realized that I have so much Puralana. So this is Gepard Puralana. It's left over from a test knit from last year. In the other color, this is the main color. Also Gepard Puralana from another test knit. So I have enough to maybe make 2 pillows. So I think what I'm gonna do is do this combo and then do another combo with the cream and a navy blue Puralana that I have. And if everything goes well, I want to make a cream and red version as well. So, but I was really worried because a lot of people said that this pattern is very slow growing. I've heard a lot of people talk about how it literally took them a year to knit it. I think this is going by really fast. I think it's because I'm doing it striped, because you can also opt to not do it striped. But I don't know. I've gotten about 3 inches done already, and I'm supposed to knit it up to 20 inches. Now mine is still a little bit too big. Mine is about 2 centimeters bigger than what the pattern says, but I'm not ripping it back. I think it's fine. Mine is 54 instead of 52 centimeters. But because I'm gonna have to sew in the backing or whatever, I think it's fine. I'll just give more allowance on the sides for the seams, and it should be okay. I'm not super worried about it. That's like less than an inch, so it's fine. But I was gonna knit on this while talking to you today, but I think even though the pattern is quite easy, I don't want to just make the mistake of not doing some slip stitches and stuff. So I'm gonna do the wave tee. That was a really long introduction. Oh my goodness. I guess I am in a chatty mood today, which is good because this is a knit and chat. So let's get the wave tee. Actually, I need another ball of yarn. This yarn is only about 60 meters, so it goes by really fast. Also, I'm not really sure what row I'm on, but I think I can figure it out as I'm going along. So, it's been a really interesting... Let me hydrate because I always forget to do that. So, as usual, I'm drinking seltzer. I don't drink soda. I haven't had soda in years, or maybe not years, but in a really long time. Anytime I'm craving something sweet or soda, I just go for seltzer, and seltzer is just like sparkling water. And this is the Polar Seltzer, very popular here in Massachusetts. I think, yeah, they're based in Worcester, I think. And this is the cranberry clementine flavor. This is my first time trying this flavor. They have like so many flavors, and they also come out with like summer flavors. I'm not crazy about the summer flavors of this year. They have this raspberry limoncello one. I'm not that crazy about it. My favorite one is the cranberry lime and the ruby red grapefruit. It's just those two always. But I thought I would try something different. So I'm trying the cranberry clementine, and it's actually pretty good. So it's been an interesting... I hope you can see me knitting. If you can't, then that would be very sad. You know what? Maybe I should put a pillow on my leg. I'm not sure if that's going to make any difference, but... And then my hair is in the way, but it's fine. It's fine, it's fine. I just took down the painting over there because it was really stressing me out. And I don't know how long it's been like that, but I had to take it down because I just didn't want it there. So it's been an interesting few months or beginning to the year for me, or years so far. Mostly because I started designing this year. I don't know. Designing was not on my mind at all when I started creating my own sweaters. But I think that there's just something about it where you really have a hobby that you enjoy and love, and you start to feel like, okay, maybe I could self-draft a pattern for myself, and then you start thinking of designing. And I've been lucky enough to have had some really amazing brands back me with like sponsored yarn and all of that for like the test knitters and for myself, and that's been really, really nice. But I guess I'm sort of like in a weird state of mind where I'm like, does it make sense for me to be designing? I think also because there needs to be, I've kind of realized that like a lot of designers, I don't think they knit other people's designers, but I feel like they're able to do that because that's their full-time job. Like when you think of Petite Knit and My Favorite Things Knitwear and Ozetta, like that's their full-time job is to create knitting patterns. So they obviously would not have time to knit any other person's patterns, and it's like they're a brand, so obviously you only want to showcase your own brand. And for me, I'm obviously, started out with podcasting, and designing is sort of like a side gig for me now because I'm a very small content creator. So not a lot of people know me on social media, whatever. So it's not like I can make it my full time job. It's kind of impossible to do that. And unless, something goes viral or whatever. And I feel like the chances of something going viral these days is like 0.1% or something. So I think I'm just sort of like in that mood where I'm like, initially the goal was to just have it be a side gig, but I guess I wasn't fully prepared for the amount of. I'm gonna join a new ball of yarn now. I wasn't fully prepared for the amount of work it was going to take. Uh, I wasn't prepared. I knew it was gonna be hard work to like grade the pattern, have it tech edited, have it translated. I knew it was gonna be a lot of work and a lot of money, but it didn't really truly occur to me just how much work it would be, because it's sort of taking me out of knitting other people's patterns, and that's something I'm still working towards, is trying to find the balance. But also just wasn't prepared for how much it would take over my life, in the sense that it is so much work. You get a pattern that's like 8 or 9 pages, and you think, oh, this. No, it's a lot of work to not only write the pattern, but obviously make sure all the numbers are correct, do the grading, and also make sure that the patterns are consistent. Like the pattern language is consistent with each, or with all of your patterns, basically, so that when somebody opens up a pattern of yours, they will immediately know, oh, that's Tokesnit's pattern. And I'm an English major, so I'm very much I'm a perfectionist, and I think when it comes to like the language of something, I want it to be. I may not be the best at like public speaking or like talking on camera, but when it comes to actually putting the words down, I want it to make sense as much as possible. So that is something that I've been working really hard on, I suppose. And so far, I've released. How many patterns have I released this year? 4 patterns, 2 sweater patterns, a hood, and a hat pattern. So, and I'm also working on 3 summer patterns right now. 2 of them are in testing, which I think the design or the release date is going to end up being kind of delayed. So, first things first, designing, apart from the difficult part of it, like the difficult aspect of it, it's a very cutthroat business. And when you go on Instagram and you see all these designers, everybody seems to be pumping out patterns at the most ridiculous, insane pace. And that, in the beginning, that was like so strange to me, because I'm like, how are people releasing patterns, like a pattern a month, and then it just kind of occurred to me that a lot of them are the people who are able to do that are like really big designers, like Sari Nordland, for instance. She tends to pump out a lot of patterns, and I think she has help. I think she has somebody like an assistant. I know Petite Knit has a whole team of knitters working with her. And so a lot of them do have somebody else like behind the scenes who helps them with the process. But that's something you can only do when it's like a business and it's like a successful one. So I don't have that, obviously. I'll be lucky if 10 people buy my pattern. But it's so interesting because I get really excited. If I sell one pattern in a week, I just get really filled with so much excitement knowing that somebody out there is going to get to knit something that I designed. It's such a really it's just an incredible feeling, I guess. So if you've ever bought any of my patterns, I truly, truly appreciate it because honestly, I can't even tell you how difficult it's been. Just thinking about it is making me feel kind of emotional because I'm thinking to myself, well, nobody told you to do this. Like you decided on your own that you wanted to monetize your hobby and start creating designs and things like that. But then always have to tell myself at the back of my mind that at the end of the day, I'm designing things that I want to wear that I can see myself wearing. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if 5 people buy it or 10 people buy it, it's still something I'm gonna wear and enjoy. But the other aspect of that, on the other side, the negative aspect of that is that obviously when you work really hard on something, you want it to do well, especially if you've put so much time and money and effort into it, you know. And a lot of the times, if you want to have like a pattern graded for you, now I can do my own grading, but it's so much work. I'm still very very slow at it. So it takes days, sometimes even weeks to do all the sizes because I really wanted my sizing to go from extra extra small to 6XL. So it's a lot of time. But if you wanted to have your pattern professionally graded for all of those sizes, it's probably not less than $300, I want to say. Obviously every grader and tech editor is going to have a different price, and then tech editing is sometimes maybe I want to say $150 ish. So that's a lot of money. And then if you want to have it translated into other languages, so right now I think I've only had one pattern translated into into 3 other languages, and then the other ones I've just had it. Actually, now that I think about it, I've had three. I think I said I had 4 patterns. I've had 5 patterns. The other pattern is the Amara vest that I just came out with recently. But what was I saying? Oh, so the other patterns I've only translated into Danish, so it's just English and Danish because I quickly realized that it wasn't gonna work. I mean, to get it translated into another language is nothing less than $100 to $110 per language. So that's a lot of money. Imagine if you had to have your pattern translated into 5 other languages. Then you add the cost of grading and tech editing to it. That's on a minimum, you're probably spending $1,000 just to get a pattern out. And that is just so that's so insane to me because when I do the math, that means that I would need to sell probably over 200 patterns or something like that to break even, to even cover the cost of how much I've made on it, or how much I've paid to create the pattern. And then you have to start thinking about profit. So when pattern designers talk about how difficult it is and how they're not making money, it's really true. So I read something that said that on Ravelry, and there's so many designers out there, obviously. So on Ravelry, I think it said that the top earners on Ravelry are not even making, I don't know, $200 a month or something like that. So there's only a select few designers that are able to make this into a living, even if it's like a side gig. It's still very very little. It's probably not more than 10 or 15, you know, designers on Ravelry. That's just me guessing. So it's all of that combined is just making me um feel very much like maybe maybe I'm wasting my time, not in the sense of like creating the design, but actually putting the pattern out. I think right now I'm probably not gonna stop designing because I've just gotten so much joy from it. But what I'm thinking is, maybe it makes more sense to just design for myself. Just design in my own size. Because if I had to grade something for my size, maybe it takes me an hour or two, then that's fine. I can just, I don't need to make it into like an actual written pattern. I can just you know, grade it for my size and make some notes and knit what I want to knit. It doesn't need to be a pattern that has, all the frills and works and all of that. So that's something I have been thinking about. I don't know how that's going to work out yet. I don't know. I just feel like I could continue to, try to promote myself and post on social media and do all of that. But it's quite exhausting. And I don't know that I want to do that. I just kind of feel like maybe that is taking the joy out of it away from me a little bit. And I'm also kind of thinking that, there's already so many big designers out there. There's already so many talented designers, the smaller designers and the bigger designers. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of people, smaller designers, announce on Instagram that they're not going to be designing anymore because it's just not worth it. Because if you spend hours and hours creating something and it doesn't reach like the intended audience, or you're not getting the benefit, or I don't know, if it's just not worth your time, it just doesn't make sense. So it just kind of makes sense to just create something for yourself alone. So yeah, and I'm thinking, well, there's already so many um knitwear designers out there, and it's not like I'm bringing anything new. This isn't me just hating on myself or self-deprecating or anything. It's just the truth. I feel like there really isn't anything that hasn't been done before. So it's not like I'm creating the most unique things. So that's something I've been thinking about lately. I will see how it goes. I have a few more patterns. I have 3 more summer patterns that I'm kind of working on, and I'm probably going to assess at the end of that and just decide to, maybe, because I have so much yarn that I and plans for like the fall, and so those designs, I feel like maybe I should just make them for me and me alone. I don't know. That's something I need to really think about. So that would just make my life easier. And of course, now I'm trying to find the perfect balance between. I feel like I've been talking about this for a really long time, but I'm trying to find the perfect balance between working on my own designs and working on other people's designs. So I only want to really knit on things that I truly feel like I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of, and it's gonna look good on me. So I'm not really doing any test knits. I'm doing 1 or 2 test knits here and there. I actually have a test knit for a skirt coming up, and it's just the most stunning skirt. It's probably gonna take me a while, and I'm so glad that I found that pattern and that designer on Instagram. So I think I just need to do some really hard thinking. Like, does this make sense in the long run? Because ever since I started designing, it's taken me away from so many other things that I could be doing, spending so much time and effort, like coordinating test knits and grading and all of that. It's taking so much time off of the things that could actually benefit me, like my livelihood, or uh pay the bills and things like that. So it's a lot of thinking. But yeah, so I think a lot of people probably think that design, like, all knitwear designers are making a lot of money. No, they're not at all. And that's something I already knew going into it. Unless you are like some of the top 5 or top 10 designers, no, knitwear designers are not making that type of money. So anyway, let's hydrate as usual. Okay. So I mentioned that I was taking a little bit of a mini break from social media. not like a clean break where I'm not like logging in at all. I'm still planning to log in and just like only really post if I really feel like I want to post, and also just not spending so much time scrolling. And if somebody tags me in something like in my on stories, then I can like repost it. And I think it's going really well. I don't necessarily, I think there's a lot of negative things on social media in general that sometimes can just like take you aback. I think there's so much negativity, just so much bad things going on, and it's really nice to just step away sometimes. And also in the knitting community, and I think I only started really feeling like this after I started designing, because there's just so many designs out there that are being churned out at a really fast pace. And I think sometimes it's really hard to not compare yourself to other knitwear designers and other knitters in general, because you see people just creating things and you just desperately want to do something similar. So and I think this is a case of where if there's too much inspiration, sometimes it's not good. And I'm the type of person who suffers from like castanitis. I just want to cast on all the things. And it's hard for me now because I'm obviously not doing a lot of test knitting anymore. When I was doing a lot of test knitting, it was easy because I knew that okay, for this month I have like 3 test knits to do or 4 test knits or whatever, and I could just go about my day. Even if there's a pattern that I see on Instagram, I wouldn't be that excited to cast it on just because I'm already excited about the test knits. But now that I'm working on my own designs, it's a lot harder to stay away. So that's something I've been thinking about. So I think I do still want to post on social media. I just need to take a step back or maybe detach from it a little bit. Obviously, if I get a message on social media, I always try to respond to all the messages that I get. I just need to be more mindful of how much time I'm spending on there, what I'm looking at, and I don't know, maybe how I digest everything that I see. Actually, I think recently, when was it? I posted something on TikTok, and I don't get a lot of like negative comments, which is really good. And if I do, sometimes I just delete or ignore. That's really it's just not worth it to reply to certain comments. But I got I think it might have been the same person on my TikTok, and she was like, "Oh, I bet you don't even knit any of these items yourself. I bet they're all machine made." So it was like a really nasty way that the person said it. But it actually made me laugh because I was thinking, oh, well, I'll take that as a compliment, actually. Because, and I think that's going to bring me to my next point is the fact that I just feel like there are a lot of snobby people in the knitting community. I don't know. If you're on social media, then you probably know this. Just people, I don't know, just hating for no reason on different things, whether it is somebody who knits with acrylic or doesn't use natural fibers, or somebody who knits too slow or too fast. And I think in general, people think that knitting is supposed to be a really slow hobby, and it's still a very slow hobby, even though it feels like I knit really fast. And I do acknowledge that I'm a fast knitter, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if I knit 50, if I have 50 FOs in a year, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm very much a process knitter, so it's so interesting that people think that, well, knitting is a slow hobby, so how are you knitting that fast? Or does it even make sense to have that many FOs or that much yarn and things like that? But I think we should just, it's so important, just let people do what they want to do, just let people enjoy their craft the way they want to enjoy their craft. And I think I've mentioned this before on TikTok, but that just surprises me because it's like, why are you worried about what speed somebody chooses to knit something? I don't always knit everything fast. I still have some projects from last year and probably the year before. There's some projects that take forever, and then there's some projects that don't take forever. And I think sometimes it's maybe depends on the yarn that you're using, the color, and all that kind of stuff, or the construction. So yeah, I don't always knit everything fast, but I do enjoy being a fast knitter. I'm just so into the process of knitting, just because of the benefits of it on my mental health, even more than the finished item. So I love the finished item, but it's the actual process of knitting something up and working with the different textures and fibers and all of that and colors that really gets me that excited feeling, that dopamine. It's not the finished garment, So that was kind of funny, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna continue to knit at my own pace. Some garments will take long, and sometimes some others will be very fast. It just really depends on my mood and what I'm feeling like. Actually, lately I haven't had that many finished objects, but I think in my next podcast, because it's been a while since my last podcast, so I'm probably going to have a ton of finished objects, and some of them will be like the same design, just because I'm having to knit like a few samples in each design that I put out. But what else did I want to talk about? It's just, I don't know. I'm just in a really weird mood right now. Like, I initially I was thinking, am I losing my knitting mojo? But it's not that, because I'm still knitting every day. I'm not knitting as much as I used to, but I'm still knitting every day. And I think it's just something that I have to sort of realign myself or align myself with my new reality. The fact that when you're designing something, or when you're designing knitwear, actually spend more time on the design process than you spend on the knitting process. And I've actually heard a few other designers talk about this before. So the actual process of getting everything together, writing the pattern, and doing all the test knits and communicating with brands and things like that, that process takes way longer than it does to actually knit the garment that you're designing. So that has been a really, really it's been an eye-opening experience for me, and it's also partly why. And like I said, I think I wouldn't mind it so much if it was my main job. If that was my only job and my only means of livelihood and whatnot, uh, I would not mind it. Obviously, I would probably get frustrated, if things aren't going well, or if the design isn't looking the way I want it to. But that aspect, I probably wouldn't mind so much. The only con would be that obviously there wouldn't be time to knit other people's designs and things like that. So I'm just having lots and lots of thoughts, and I'm just sitting here and I'm just thinking that there's been a bird. I mean, birds. There's always bird sounds over here, like constantly all day long. But there's been a particular bird that just is so loud and just constantly. It's like very, very loud, and starting from like super early in the morning. I think it's the same bird. So I don't know what's going on there. But I just kind of thought, it just occurred to me that the bird has been disruptive this entire video. But I'm just chilling. Excited for the summer, but not that soon. Summer is not my favorite season, honestly. I do, these days I am enjoying summer knitting, but it's still not my favorite season. I think my favorite season is probably the fall. Spring would have been my favorite season if I wasn't like prone to severe springtime allergies. But I'm kind of thinking I'm already over summer, even though summer technically hasn't fully started yet by the time I'm filming this. So I'm just ready for the fall. I'm ready for cabled knits. I have a lot of cabled knits on my mind. The cable sweater that I was going to design last year is hopefully going to be this year. I've already cast on. I have yarn for the second sample in like the most gorgeous shade. I can't wait. I can't wait to cast on the second sample. And that is going to be later in the fall that I probably will finish it. And that's one of the designs that I'm thinking that I probably shouldn't even like put out as a design. I don't know. Right now I think I should just focus on it being a sweater for myself and have it be like a self-drafted sweater, because obviously, a stockinette sweater is probably a lot more easier to put out than a cable sweater. It's probably going to be times two the work that I've spent on the other designs, and I don't know if I want to do that, because obviously it's going to have charts and all of that stuff, and because it's going to be a drop shoulder construction, there needs to be charts for each size or groups of sizes for the short row section. So yeah, and that's not something I think I'm gonna be able to do by myself. Obviously the basic charts are fine, but when it comes to charting it for all the sizes, I would definitely need to hire somebody, which means that I would have to pay a significant amount of money, and I just don't know if I feel like doing that. So I'll keep you updated. I think I will probably end up just choosing to have it be something for myself only. And I think I'm fine with that. I think I've been really lucky that I think my social media actually grew a lot faster than I imagined it would. Because honestly, I just started posting consistently at the beginning of last year, I think. Yeah, I think so. Or no, I think it was December of 2023, but it was like towards the end of December. So technically, it's only been like a year and a half. So, and even my YouTube, I was doing YouTube already, but I think a lot of you didn't find me until last year. So it's been really, really nice. And I love reading comments. um I pretty much try to read and respond to every single comment that I get, because it's truly the highlight of my day. The first few days after releasing a video, I get so much joy out of like reading, not because I need you guys to like hype me up or anything, but it's like the community feeling of it, because just sitting down here and talking to a camera sometimes feels very lonely because I'm talking to a camera. So just knowing that there are people at the other end who are watching me and maybe feel the same way that I do about certain things, about certain projects, is a really nice feeling. Really, really nice feeling. So I'm super, super grateful. We just hit, I think we're over 6,000 subscribers right now, which is so much fun. I don't know. I feel like I really want to do something. Maybe another cow. I did a cow last year towards the fall, but I don't know what cow we could, or was it in the summer? I don't remember. I don't know what cow I could possibly want to do now. But I think that would be fun to just have maybe like a group chat of, everybody knitting the same thing and things like that. I'm not really sure. Also, I'm not sure how long I've been talking. I feel like this is already a 40-minute video. So hopefully it wasn't too bad. I've knit about 3 rows or so. And I've been trying to keep track of my increased rows versus my non-increased rows. And let's hope I haven't messed it up. But this is a really fast knit, honestly. I'm still working on the yoke, but the only con about it is because this yarn, it's a boucle like texture, so it's not the most pleasant knitting experience, and it's also a summer type yarn, so it feels kind of rough, but it does soften up after you wash it. It does grow a bit with washing though, so I think if you're gonna use this yarn, maybe size down, because I've sized down for this one. Maybe size down with whatever you want to knit, because it does grow a little bit. And this is a much bigger gauge as well. I think this is 6 millimeter. Yeah, this is 6 millimeter needles. Okay, wow. I wish I could sit here for like another hour chatting about just whatever, but I think I have to let you guys go now. But it's been so much fun. I would love to do more of these and maybe just sit down and chat about whatever it is I'm thinking of with regards to knitting and other stuff and just life in general. Still in the process of moving. It's going by really, really slowly. But I've been thinking a lot about like home decor pieces that I would love to make, which is probably why I cast on the Marie pillow as well. All right, I think we should stop right there because hold on. I don't think there's a lot of editing I need to do with this video, so I do have to cut out the bit where that painting, I had to take the painting down. But hopefully I do have a couple videos I would like to get up before this one gets up, so we'll see. I have time to, edit and do all of that. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me. I don't know, what do you guys think of this? If you liked this format of me just sitting and chatting, let me know. I would love to do more of these in the future. So I'm gonna go off, and it's actually not, it's like midday, so it's not really time for lunch, but I think I'm gonna go make an iced coffee because I've been really obsessed with coffee these days. So I will come back in another video, which is probably going to be a pattern roundup video, one that I'm really excited about. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had fun knitting with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.